has been the symbol of power and influence since forever, and nothing seems to have changed, even today. It's one thing to own millions and a whole other when it starts owning you. That's right. Wealth and money have a deep-rooted influence on our behavior and social conduct. And this is all what we will be discussing in today's video. We will find out how people's relationship with money shapes their behavior and their financial decisions, and how the pursuit of wealth is linked to immoral behavior. So, if you want to learn all about it, then stay till the end.
People often will think of money as having power in and of itself. It does not. Money is information, and it does not have power in and of itself. And applying the physics,
mindsets around money. Think about it for a second. We learn as we grow, we see behaviors, and we adapt. Not fully, but we do develop our adult persona based on what we saw our elders doing when we were young. Same goes for our spending habits. Some of us may not even realize how deep-rooted beliefs and attitudes about money influence our financial decisions. Let's dive into a few common money mindsets that can shape our financial life, for better or worse. The scarcity mindset. Not everybody grows up seeing an abundance of money. Most of the parents budget their income to divide it into their fixed expenses, and sometimes it's just not enough spare money for a vacation or lavish dinners. They have to save it to be able to spend it. While many would say it's a saving attitude, many argue that it's called the scarcity mindset. It's all about seeing money as something limited. People with this mindset often worry about running out of money, no matter how much they actually have. They might start hoarding money or feel anxious about spending, so much so that it even affects the expense on necessary things. This mindset can lead to feeling stressed and trapped because you're always afraid there won't be enough. The scarcity mindset can also make people pass up opportunities for fear of losing money or taking risks. The abundance mindset. On the flip side, an abundance mindset sees money as something that flows and replenishes.
Why would you save money when they're printing trillions of dollars? The gap between the 1% and 99% is massive. You see, it's not just money. You have to step back and look at the bigger picture.
People with this attitude believe that there's always more money to be made and opportunities to earn. Whatever their bank balance may be like, they will live to circulate money. This belief helps them feel more relaxed about money and encourages them to take calculated risks, which can often lead to growth. To be honest, it's a bit risky, but risk is all you need to achieve the unthinkable. These people feel it is easy to risk their money to multiply it, and nobody guarantees that the invested money will always grow. It can all go down the drain as well. So instead of seeing financial setbacks as permanent, they view them as temporary and focus on bouncing back. This optimistic approach often helps people take advantage of new opportunities, investments, or business ventures. The money avoidance mindset. Money avoiders tend to think of money as something negative or even bad, and you can't blame them. We have all seen money and its pursuit as something done by villains in shows and movies. And for that, they use all kinds of illegal ways and tactics. They will breach laws, break them, and remove anybody from their way who stops them. This reputation of getting money has been imprinted on our brains as something wrong or immoral. And from that rises the money avoidance mindset. These people may believe that money is the root of all evil, or that rich people are greedy at their core. This mindset can cause people to avoid thinking about money, budgeting, or even saving for the future. While this can protect them from feeling anxious in the short term, it can lead to long-term financial chaos. The money worship mindset. And then there are people called money worshippers. They believe that more money will solve all their problems. Their life and actions are all revolving around chasing after money. The more they get, the more they spend. They are often influenced by the higher class, which has tons of money and can spend without thinking. The money worshippers, however, have limited incoming money, but they spend like there's no tomorrow. They will keep up with the rich in how they dress and how they eat, and their lifestyle will be way above what they can afford. Only money brings them happiness, security, or self-worth. However, this mindset can lead to overspending, debt, and dissatisfaction because no amount of money ever feels like enough. The money vigilant mindset. And finally, there's the money vigilant mindset. People with this mindset are careful, focused on saving, and often anxious about spending. While this can be a good thing in terms of avoiding debt, it can also lead to an overly cautious approach where they miss out on enjoying life or making smart investments. Personality traits linked to wealth. Now let's see what personality traits are more likely to help with building wealth. An interesting research study was carried out by the Open University and Norwegian School of Management, where they observed the characteristics of around 3,200 people. The characteristics were then analyzed in relation to the participants' wealth, which included assets such as property, savings, investments, and valuable physical possessions. Though the results offer just a brief glimpse, a variety of personalities can be found across all income brackets. The first personality trait that they assessed was the conscientious kind. They are the organized and disciplined ones. This trait is crucial when it comes to wealth building because it allows people to plan, save, and invest consistently. Conscientious individuals don't just splurge when they feel like it. They're thoughtful about spending and prioritize things like saving and investing for the future. Wealthy people are often emotionally stable. This means they know they can keep their emotions in control, whether they are making millions or losing millions. They have their money working for them as they sleep, and sometimes the stock market can tank, or a sudden financial emergency can hit them. They have a strong hold on their reactions and think rationally. This trait helps them weather the ups and downs of financial markets and stay focused on their long-term goals. The third trait is openness to experience. People who are open to experience tend to be curious and willing to take risks. Think of it this way. Imagine yourself as a house having a main door. If you keep it closed, there's no doubt that you will avoid any unwanted intruders, but if you keep it open with precautions, you will allow fresh air and opportunities too. You will be able to see and grab new chances of growth, which if you had doors closed, would never be there. Open people are not afraid to step outside the box and try something new, which can lead to big financial rewards. They're also lifelong learners, always looking for new ways to improve their financial situation. Very closely linked to this is the trait of extroversion. Extroverts are often good at networking, which is a surprisingly important part of building wealth. Having a strong social network can open doors to new opportunities, whether it's a business deal, an investment tip, or a partnership. Wealthy individuals often use their extroverted nature to build relationships that can lead to financial gain. And the final trait was self-control. How much can you stop yourself from impulse spending? We live in a time where we are bombarded with marketing messages every single day. Mainstream and social media are full of ads. If you lack self-control, you will fall for every marketing tactic and never save your money to invest it somewhere for multiplication. People who build wealth typically have a high degree of self-control, meaning they don't give in to impulse spending or the desire to keep up with the Joneses. Instead, they live within their means, save consistently, and avoid debt. Locus of control. There is something called the locus of control, and it's a psychological concept that explains how much control people feel they have over their lives. The idea is pretty simple. If you believe that your actions directly affect your outcomes, you've got what psychologists call an internal locus of control. If you feel like life just happens to you, and external factors like luck or fate are determining everything, then you have an external locus of control. People with an internal locus of control believe that they are in charge of their destiny. They think that their hard work, decisions, and habits shape their outcomes. When it comes to money, this means that they take personal responsibility for their financial situation. If they're in debt, they'll make a plan to pay it off. If they want to build wealth, they'll take steps like saving, investing, or increasing their income. Studies have shown that individuals with an internal locus of control tend to have higher financial success because they believe they can make things happen. One interesting study from the Journal of Economic Behavior and Organization found that people with an internal locus of control are more likely to save money and plan for retirement. They feel empowered to take control of their financial future, and that leads to smarter money habits like budgeting, investing, and financial planning. On the other hand, people with an external locus of control believe that outside forces, like luck, the economy, or other people, are the main drivers of their financial situation. They might think that no matter what they do, it won't change much. For example, someone with this mindset might feel like they'll never get out of debt because the system is rigged, or they'll never save enough because inflation always eats away at savings. This mindset can lead to feelings of helplessness and, unfortunately, poor financial decisions. Research shows that people with an external locus of control tend to have less financial security. They might be more likely to fall into debt, avoid planning for the future, or make impulsive financial decisions because they don't see the point in trying to control what they feel they can't change. If you feel you have an external locus, then you can always shift towards the opposite. It's not something that's set in stone. Start by focusing on what you can control, tracking your spending, setting a savings goal, or learning about investing. Small wins, like paying off a credit card or sticking to a budget, can help build your sense of control over your financial life. Financial knowledge and behavior. Financial knowledge is basically how well you understand concepts such as saving, investing, and budgeting. It has a big impact on your financial behavior. It's not just about being smart with money. It's about understanding how money works and making the right decisions based on that understanding. Studies show that people with higher financial literacy tend to make better choices, and those choices lead to greater wealth. So why does having this knowledge matter? Research has found that people who are more financially knowledgeable save more, invest wisely, and avoid bad debt. According to a study by the Global Financial Literacy Excellence Center, only about 1/3 of adults globally are considered financially literate. That's a lot of people who don't fully understand basic financial concepts. This gap can lead to poor financial decisions, like high-interest loans, not saving for emergencies, or missing out on investment opportunities. The study also found that people with better financial knowledge are more likely to plan for retirement and have a clear budget in place. When people know more about money, they tend to make smarter financial moves. A survey by FINRA's National Financial Capability Study revealed that people who could correctly answer 5 basic financial literacy questions were more likely to have a rainy day fund and less likely to carry credit card debt. They're also more likely to diversify their investments, which reduces risk. This state-by-state survey found that only 2.73 people on average in Texas could answer the questions correctly, which was 2.88 on the national average. It clearly highlights how a lack of financial capability has disadvantaged many Americans. Basically, financial knowledge leads to better habits, and better habits lead to wealth over time. And the lack of it means that people keep making financial mistakes and never get to build wealth. For example, people who don't understand how interest works are more likely to take on high-interest credit card debt. They might also not grasp the importance of investing early, and this leaves them behind in their wealth-building journey. Without understanding how inflation works, they might keep all their money in a savings account instead of investing it. We all know that inflation has always only increased, so the money parked in those savings accounts only loses its purchasing power over time. The good news, however, is that today we have resources like books, podcasts, and online courses that can boost your understanding of money. The key is to stay curious and always look for ways to improve your money management skills. The more you know, the better your financial behavior will become, and the closer you'll get to achieving your wealth goals. Psychological profiles of millionaires. According to the internet, there are an estimated 58 million millionaires worldwide, which is about 1.1% of all adults worldwide. The United States tops the list of the largest number of millionaires, with 38% of them being American. Western Europe has 28%, while China has 10%. So, how did they manage to earn more money than everyone else? What makes them different from the rest of the world? When it comes to the psychology of wealth, different types of millionaires have their own unique approaches to money and spending. Let's talk about a few of these interesting profiles, which we will call thrillionaires and willionaires. Thrillionaires are millionaires who prioritize experiences over material possessions. A good example of such can be Richard Branson, the founder of the Virgin Group. Branson is known for his adventurous spirit and has used his wealth to fund incredible experiences. From crossing oceans in hot air balloons to space exploration with Virgin Galactic, Branson's spending habits reflect the thrillionaire mindset, living for the thrill and pushing boundaries. He once said, "My interest in life comes from setting myself huge, apparently unachievable challenges and trying to rise above them." He's the perfect example of someone who uses wealth to fuel high adrenaline experiences while also keeping an entrepreneurial mind. Another great example is Elon Musk, someone who's always in the news for doing things no one imagines. Musk built companies like Tesla and SpaceX and spends heavily on innovative and ambitious projects like launching rockets into space and developing cutting-edge technology. His investments in space travel are not just about making money. They're about fulfilling a childhood dream of making humans a multi-planetary species. For trillionaires like Musk, the thrill of exploration and pushing technological boundaries is what drives their financial decisions. Then, there are billionaires, people who are focused on creating wealth with a purpose. Their approach is more about leaving a lasting legacy, whether that's through philanthropy, building family wealth, or creating something meaningful. Bill Gates perfectly embodies the billionaire mindset. Gates co-founded Microsoft and became one of the richest people in the world, but he's used his wealth to make a massive impact through philanthropy. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is one of the largest charitable organizations globally, focusing on causes like global health, education, and reducing poverty. Gates' spending is focused on creating a legacy that will improve the lives of millions of people long after he's gone. His goal isn't just to accumulate wealth, but to ensure that it has a lasting, positive impact. Another example of a billionaire is Warren Buffett, the legendary investor. Despite his massive wealth, Buffett is known for living a relatively modest lifestyle. He's pledged to give away more than 99% of his fortune, primarily through the Giving Pledge, which encourages billionaires to commit a majority of their wealth to charitable causes. Buffett believes in using wealth for the greater good and focuses on ensuring that his money is put to work helping others. Both types of millionaires show that wealth is more than just about having money. It's about how you choose to use it to either enjoy life or change the world. Emotional connections to wealth. By now we have seen how important financial knowledge is and how impactful it is on our day-to-day lives. One thing that determines what our day will be like is how we are feeling, our emotions. And because we are working to earn, emotions have a direct relation to it. Money isn't just about numbers in a bank account. It's tied to feelings, beliefs, and even identity. Did you know that how we feel about wealth can deeply influence our financial decisions and overall sense of well-being? Let's dive into how emotions like security, fear, and even self-worth play a role in our relationship with money. For many people, money represents security. Having enough money in the bank can create a sense of safety. Knowing that you can pay your bills, handle emergencies, or enjoy life's pleasures without constant worry. This emotional connection can lead people to focus on building savings or investing wisely because it provides peace of mind. Many entrepreneurs who ended up succeeding had some sort of backing. They didn't have the responsibility of providing for a household. That's how they could think outside the box, dedicate time, and take big risks. According to Facebook's founder Mark Zuckerberg, "I know a lot of entrepreneurs, and I don't know a single person who gave up on starting a business because they might not make enough money. But I know lots of people who haven't pursued dreams because they didn't have a cushion to fall back on if they failed." We all know we don't succeed just by having a good idea or working hard. We succeed by being lucky too. If I had to support my family growing up, instead of having time to code, if I didn't know I'd be fine if Facebook didn't work out, I wouldn't be standing here today. If we're honest, we all know how much luck we've had. So you see, if you are emotionally free, that you can take bold steps and not end up zero, then you can really do wonders. The fear of losing everything can trigger anxiety and stress, sometimes driving people to never take the risk, and so they never build wealth. Self-worth and success. Wealth is also tied to the feelings of self-worth. Here's how. Many people measure their success by how much money they are making, or the possessions they accumulate. This emotional connection can either make you work hard or create a toxic cycle where your self-esteem becomes entirely dependent on your financial status. Interestingly, research shows that after a certain point, more money doesn't necessarily lead to more happiness. According to a study by Princeton University, emotional well-being plateaus after reaching an income level of around $75,000 annually. This suggests that while money can enhance comfort and reduce stress, it isn't the sole driver of happiness, especially if it's linked too strongly to personal worth. And those from a modest background who suddenly become wealthy might struggle with feelings of guilt, wondering if they are even worthy of deserving their success. The role of status and power. We live in a world where might is always right, and unfortunately, might depend on how much money you have. The role of status and power is central to how wealth influences people and shapes behavior, relationships, and even self-identity. Wealth doesn't just represent financial freedom. It also serves as a marker of social status and a tool to exercise power. These factors play into how people perceive themselves and others and influence everything from spending habits to personal interactions. In many societies, wealth is closely tied to status. People often perceive financial success as personal success, leading to a sense that wealth elevates one's social position. Wealthy people will therefore be more visited, invited, and people will somehow find ways to associate with them. If you drive a luxury car, live in a big house, or wear designer clothes, these material symbols are all signals of higher status. Research from the Journal of Consumer Psychology shows that status-driven spending is often motivated by the desire to be admired or respected by others, and it's mostly the case because money impresses people. Sociologist Thorstein Veblen coined the term conspicuous consumption to describe this very phenomenon, where people purchase expensive items not out of need, but to showcase their social position. While wealth can elevate status, it also acts as a direct source of power. When you have financial resources, you automatically get the ability to influence outcomes in business, politics, or even personal relationships. Wealthy individuals often have more access to decision makers, can fund campaigns, or even shape policy through donations and lobbying. We see it happening every day in world politics. Power derived from wealth allows people to exert control over their environments, which would never have been possible if they didn't have all that money. This idea of wealth equating to power is most visible in the corporate world, where billionaires and CEOs can leverage their financial clout to steer markets or reshape industries. India's richest man and business tycoon Mukesh Ambani's son's lavish wedding was nothing short of a spectacular event, showcasing the sheer power and influence of wealth in India. It was not just a wedding, but also a podium where money moved. Literally, the Ambani family spared no expense, with estimates suggesting the total cost of the wedding reached around $600 million. This may look like a really big figure, but it was also a strategic move for the broader implications of the family business. He was able to bring together a high-profile crowd, and it tells you how intertwined social status and business networks can be. With billionaires and global leaders flocking to such events, the Ambani family is a prime example of how wealth and status can generate significant economic influence, both in India and beyond. By aligning with influential figures through events like these, the Ambani family can forge new partnerships and solidify existing ones, further establishing their power in the business landscape. You may have heard that the middle class experiences more stress than the upper and lower classes. It is grounded in several societal and economic factors. For the middle class, much of the stress comes from the constant pressure to maintain their status and financial stability, and possibly move up the scale of class. The upper class, on the other hand, has the financial resources to manage or avoid many stressors, such as unexpected expenses or long-term financial insecurity. The lower class, however, doesn't have access to such privileges, and because they don't usually move in circles that have money, they don't feel the need to compete. In conclusion, the psychology of wealth shows us that money influences not only our financial security, but also our mindset, relationships, and sense of self-worth. Whether it brings power or stress, wealth affects everyone differently. Understanding these dynamics can help us make more mindful financial and emotional choices and live better, fuller lives. That's it for today. If you liked the video, please press the like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video very soon.